Thank you guys for coming. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome to Striking Targets. Specifically for this video, we're going to be looking at the types of places on an attacker's or an aggressor's body that we would be using our striking surfaces that we've already gone through to hit. Typically what we're going to look for are soft, fleshy, vulnerable spots on the body. And as we go through that, you'll pick up some common sense things and recognize where the most effective areas are. But it's very important to understand the legality of using these types of strikes that we're going to go through on the target areas on another human's body. Depending on which state, county, country you're in, there's going to be laws defining what a reasonable amount of force is to be used in self-defense. An example would be if I'm at a restaurant and maybe someone thinks I looked at their partner wrong, or maybe I bumped into them and knocked their drink over or something like that, and they started causing trouble with me and pushing me. Clearly they're the aggressor, verbally assaulting me. Looks like they're going to escalate to more severe violence very soon, so I decide to kind of premeditate that and poke him in the eye, damage his cornea, kick him in the knee and dislocate it, throw a couple of punches at him, break his jaw. Most likely I'm probably going to go to jail for that, and I'm probably going to be in a lot of trouble. Because for the reasonable person, that was not a justifiable level of force for the situation that was in. Especially considering I have quite a bit of training in martial arts. I should have been able to handle that situation differently. I should have been able to maybe de-escalate it, or maybe control him, put him on the ground without throwing these very, very damaging strikes, so that I didn't have to damage another human being, which is not just a legal point of view, there's also ethical and moral points of view here as well. But let's look at another example. Say I'm walking to my car and I'm close, I'm getting to it, I get my keys out, and these five very tall, very heavy set, looking kind of football linemen, very muscular people come out, and one's got a metal pipe in his hand, the other one I can see has a knife, and there's someone with a 2x4 maybe, and they come at me and they start shouting at me, and it looks like they're going to be very aggressive. And again, I decide to premeditate. I poke one of them in the eye, kick the other one in the knee to dislocate it. I get this one with a couple of punches, and maybe I throw this one and lock him up and break his arm with some kind of submission. That would be, again, in a reasonable person's point of view, probably justifiable. I could have potentially used lethal force at that point. Five very large people with weapons attacking me. I have a very slim chance of surviving that without severe damage. So the reasonable amount of force that I could be able to use is increased. Now again, depending on the jurisdiction you're in, whether it's a county, a state, or you're in a different country watching this video, it's very important that, one, you understand your laws, but two, it's also very important you think about this type of thing. If you train in these types of self-defense techniques, that you understand the moral and ethical justification of hurting or damaging another human being. It's a very important thing to think about. That being said, let's go through our upper body striking targets so that we know where is going to be the most efficient place to strike, so that we can potentially escape, get out of there without ourselves being harmed, or maybe family members or friends being harmed as well. So starting right at the top here, the head. Now we talked about in the striking surfaces, the head up here is pretty hard. Maybe not something we could damage very easily, but as we come down, we start to feel some different softer areas. The temple is quite a vulnerable area on the body. It's good for potential knockouts. Come even further down, the ears, these little kind of quite soft, fleshy things, they actually come off quite easy. They can be damaged quite easy. If I do this on the inside of it, I cut my hand, I could cause a perforation of the eardrum or bursting of the eardrum. Obviously, going straight down my face here, my eyes are very vulnerable, very soft, very kind of acute pieces of our body that can be easily damaged. Same with the nose. This is a bunch of cartilage. You pop it, it's going to bleed, it's going to make crunchy noises, it's going to make your eyes tear up. Your mouth, you've got a lot of teeth in there, so punching and striking teeth could be damaging to you, but also damaging to them as well. But if you think about the lower part of the face right here, the piece I'm speaking with, is only attached up here, so it's more vulnerable at the front. It can move side to side and down, things like that. So that's a potential vulnerable striking target that you could hit with your hammer fists or your punches or your palm heels. You come down and we're talking about upper neck here. On the back you've got the C1, C2, which could cause some very severe damage if struck. And also you've got this fleshy part of your neck. On the outside you have two carotid arteries which send blood up to the brain, and they have receptors in them called baroreceptors, pressure receptors. So if you've ever seen a UFC MMA match where someone was getting choked out and they fell unconscious from the sleeper hold or the rear naked choke, that's because those baroreceptors in the carotid arteries have gone, hey, there's an emergency here, we need to shut things down to protect the brain, and that's why that happens. So you could strike them and damage them. Obviously at the front you have the trachea, which is your airway, your voice box. It's a very, very fragile part of the body, can easily be damaged with a side hammer fist right there, the side knife. I can poke this little notch right below the trachea here with my fingers. That could be quite damaging. And as we get lower here, we feel our collarbone, our clavicle right here. A simple strike right down the middle of that could break that or dislocate that very, very easily with your hammer fist, or your forearm, or potentially an elbow as well. As we go down, we're going to hit some large muscle areas and a big old breastplate which protects vital organs, my heart, my lungs. So this is, you could punch someone here, but it's unlikely to do a lot of damage. As you go down slightly, you'll see where that breastplate, that sternum ends, and you have something called the solar plexus. You hit the solar plexus, you know it. That gasping for the air, you're winded. But it's quite a small area to hit to actually get that effect. As you go down, try to hit the stomach, again, depending on what your aggressor is like, but if anyone does push-ups, they're going to have some muscular structure here. It might not be very strong, but it's going to be stronger than to the sides here. If you tense your abdominal muscles, yeah, okay, that's pretty strong. As you go outside, they get weaker and weaker because we don't typically do those side crunches. So outside here is going to be more effective. You also have two important organs. On my right side, the liver, my left side, the spleen. So liver punches and liver knockouts in boxing, kickboxing, you've seen before, they're quite devastating. You also have two sets of floating ribs, ribs that are not attached to my sternum, and they're much easier to damage, causing quite a bit of pain as well. Obviously, if we go to the back, we look at the spine, and hitting anywhere on the spine is going to be potentially very, very damaging, but it is also well protected as well by big muscle groups and things like that. So that covers kind of this central area, the head, the face, upper torso. As you come out to the limbs become more vulnerable because they're smaller bones and they have lots of joints. The elbow joint, if I take that punch, is something that can be very vulnerable. The wrist joint, we can do certain wrist manipulations, which we'll get into later, but also hitting that hand on the small bones can be damaged as well. Pulling fingers back or to the side, or hitting fingers, hitting the back of the hand with these knuckles right here, that can be quite painful as well, especially if someone's grabbing you. That's an excellent way to try and release that grab or that hold from you. So we've covered the basic upper torso, striking targets. You take your striking surface areas and think about what would be the best one to hit each of those targets, and then we're starting to build a toolbox of self-defense techniques that we can use. And we'll go into some of these techniques and review them, dig deeper in them, and show them to you a little bit in future videos. So hopefully you've learned something from that. Come back, review this, try and take some notes, and watch the other videos and build up your self-defense game, and with some of the other videos, your striking, boxing, kickboxing games, grappling games, and the different arts we're going to offer in the future. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Enjoy your training, Bruins.